Well, the key highlights of the quarter are that our generation has gone up to 6 billion as against 5.3 in the corresponding quarter last year. The EBITDA has shot up by about 20% to 1218 crores. However, the PAT has come down by about 16%, and that is on account of one is the financial cost of the hydro acquisition that we did, and secondly, we've done some provisioning in RWPL, as well as there are some tax provisions that we had to make because of the taxation requirements, additional tax provisions that we had to make. So because of that, the PAT is slightly down by 16%. Barmer had a record generation of 1.7 billion units, the highest ever done by the plant. So these are the basic highlights of the quarter this year.
Coming to operational highlights, Vijayanagar, for instance, saw a drop in plant load factor. Could you highlight the main reason for this, and also if you could talk a bit about the contribution of the various segments of the business in terms of the merchandise part and the other parts?
Vijayanagar, yes, has marginally dropped to 96%. It was a flat 100% last quarter, in the corresponding quarter last year. And the primary reason for that has been that the southern states have been doing a little bit of backing down during the month of November. So that has resulted in the PLF dropping by about 4% in Vijayanagar. At Ratnagiri, even though the net generation is down, but because of our long-term PPAs with JSW Steel, our deemed PLF has shot up to 90%. And the PLF at Barmer has also gone up from 77 to 85%. As far as the contribution of the various segments is concerned, in this quarter the sale to the long-term and the merchant power has been almost exactly 50-50. And that is because Dolvi, that's the Dolvi steel plant, did not offtake some of its power under the long-term PPA, and that was sold in the merchant market. Otherwise, the tilt is generally in favor of long-term.
Could you add some color on long-term PPAs that you are considering at the moment?
Well, the long-term PPAs, we are certainly looking at tying up some of our southern power into long-term PPAs, but at the moment we are faced with a lack of opportunities. There have been very few tenders in the last couple of years. And we are now expecting that over the next 6 to 12 months there may be some opportunities with Uday kicking in and having its impact on ground. Some of the states might start looking at purchase of long-term powers, and that is the time when we would very keenly look at tying up say another 25% of our total portfolio into long-term.
What's the outlook on tariffs and realizations going forward?
Well, the tariffs, as I've been maintaining for quite some time, are likely to remain subdued for some time now, because you are well aware that today it's an oversupply situation as far as power is concerned, because there's not much off-taking by the discoms. But again, hoping that Uday does kick in, and it has been already accepted by 15 states, so we are expecting that once the effects of Uday start coming in and the balance sheets of the discoms start improving, they'll start demanding more power, they'll start buying more power, and that's when the tariffs will firm up a bit.
Also, sir, what is the plan as far as capacity to plant is concerned, addition to plant capacity is concerned, considering such uncertain times? Would you be going ahead with your planned capex, or would you kind of want to alter it at this point?
Well, as far as our Kuter hydro project is concerned, we've already gone ahead and placed the LOI for that project, and we expect to kickstart that project over the next 1 quarter or so. We'll be, and thereafter complete in another 4 years. Other than that, we are not looking at any capacity addition, but we are certainly looking at adding capacity to the company by way of acquisitions.
So you have always indicated a strong appetite for growing via the inorganic route. So could you add some color on the kind of assets you are interested in, and also the kind of due diligence you are doing at this point, and if we should expect any announcements soon?
Well, it's no secret that we have been assessing 2 assets, which is Monet Power's asset in Odisha and the Bina project of JP's. So we continue to do our due diligence on them, and we are expecting to close the due diligence on one of the assets very shortly, say in about next month or so. And probably you will hear something about it then. It's not possible for me to give you the name or the further details of the asset at this time, But we are certainly looking at these two assets. And in addition to that, we continue to look at other assets also which are offered to us. And as you very rightly said, we do still have an appetite for acquisitions, and it makes a lot of sense today for us to grow through the inorganic route because there are a number of stressed assets available in the market.
So with a consolidated debt of around 15,000 crore rupees, would you be considering any equity infusion, or would this be sufficient for you to go ahead with your planned acquisitions?
No, this will entirely depend on the number of acquisitions that we do. So equity infusion would certainly be a factor of the number of assets that we finally decide to acquire. And as when required, we would certainly look at equity infusion.
So we are seeing a lot of structural weakness in China. There is weak global cues that we are seeing every day. How do you see this panning out for the Indian economy, and how resilient are we really, considering the rebalancing happening in the mainland? Also the fact that there is a strong likelihood of a devaluation of the Chinese currency. How do you see this panning out for power producers in the country?
Well, the power producers will certainly be impacted by the overall economic scenario in the country. However, India has proved to be much more resilient over the past few years. The past 2-3 crises we've been able to sail through. And I continue to have that hope in the Indian economy and the Indian government that they'll be able to sort of sail us through even if the world does face a crisis on account of the Chinese meltdown. But having said that, we would certainly like the pace of industrial activity and manufacturing to grow in this country, because that would result directly into more demand for the power. And it is rather unfortunate that a country like India today has got a very, very low per capita consumption of power as compared to the rest of the world. We are almost at 1/3 of the world average, and for a country which has got ambitions like India to grow into a world economy, I think this needs to be corrected.
Sir, this is my last question. What are your expectations from the finance minister, considering budget is expected on the 29th of Feb? So what really do you want the finance minister to roll in that could help the power sector in the country?
Well, as I told you, the power sector is going to get helped by a general kickstarting of the economy. So as the rest,
specific measures that you?
I would not like to specify a measure or to dictate to the finance minister, but
a wish list.
Certainly we would like him to take measures which can kickstart the economy and put it on a firm path of growth. It's no secret, everybody has been complaining that the growth in the Indian economy or the changes have not been fast enough, and we are not really seeing a change on the ground. So it's high time the government came out with measures which actually see changes happening on the ground and the economy growing. That will certainly help the power sector automatically.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.